What do I think of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom? I don't know, man. It's a weird place to be with it all, with the Robert Downey Jr. stuff, because on one hand, it's like, it's going to be good, right? Like, it's Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be good. I just don't know if it was, I don't think it's what was best for the character of Doom. I think they're doing, even if it's amazing, even though it's Robert Downey Jr., yada, 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 I think they're doing Victor Von Doom a disservice by doing it this way. I think they would have been much better off casting a true Victor Von Doom instead of making everything have to come back to Tony Stark. They finally got away from, that's what's crazy about it. They finally got away from that. Remember, like in the early days of the MCU, Spider-Man Homecoming, not really the early days, but like Endgame, Infinity War, around that time period, it seemed like every villain that existed with the MCU was somehow tied to Tony Stark. Michael Keaton's Vulture, Mysterio, all of them always had to come back to Tony Stark. And now here we are again. The biggest villain arguably the biggest villain in all of Marvel Comics. Got to be related to Tony Stark somehow. So it's, I'm not saying it's not going to be good. I think it's going to be good. It's Russo Bros, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, it's going to be great. But part of me's like, man, we really missed out. Imagine a Cillian Murphy Doom, dude, or even Michael. I know Michael Fassbender played Magneto, but imagine a Michael Fassbender Doom. I saw the dude from Game of Thrones that played Jaime Lannister. He was a popular fan cast. He would have been great as Doom. There's just so many good actors. You don't really need to know anything though, Caleb. That's the thing. Even it's great. Yeah. Even if it's great storytelling, it doesn't matter how good it is. It's still somehow got to be about Tony Stark, regardless of how they do it. So regardless of how well they tell the story, it's still, unless they go in and just don't even acknowledge Tony Stark and like, oh, he's not Tony Stark at all. He's just playing a true version of Victor Von Doom. Then it's just weird. It's like, well, I mean, it's a weird decision all throughout. I don't know. I'm still going to be seated regardless of my complaints. So I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, he's definitely going to be a variant. That's for sure. He'll be a variant. I just hope, this is my hope. This is the best hope I can have. I hope that they don't have him tied to Tony. They have him tied to Tony Stark the least amount possible, if that makes sense. I know that's not the best way to word that. But like, make him be as separate from Tony as he can. Like, yeah, acknowledge the fact that he's a variant, whatever. That's fine. But like, I just really hope that this is truly Doctor Doom. And we're not going to see Tony Stark Doom walking around with not even wearing the mask half the time. That's going to be my biggest thing. I can get through all of it, even if it is heavily tied to Tony Stark. If bro's walking around without the mask 90% of the time, that's going to be rage inducing. We're not going to vibe with that. I hope they don't show his face at all. I hope they show it. Yeah, it's a Tony Stark variant, whatever. And then from that point, I can get through it at that point, regardless of how much he is tied to Tony. If he has the mask on the whole time, whatever, man. I can put everything else aside. I'll get through it. Feel like it was for money. I mean, everything's for money. Let's be real here. But I mean, come on. At the end of the day, I know we're all like a little bit upset about it. I'm a little bit upset about it. But at the end of the day, dude, it's the Russo brothers. It's Robert Downey Jr. If you think it's not going to be good, then you're just fooling yourself. It's going to be good. My only concern is simply, I feel like even as good as it is, there's the possibility it could have been better no matter what. Because, whatever. They just got to be real careful because this multiverse shit can get real corny real fast if you don't do things properly. Much like, God, dude, the DC CW stuff. Woo! That guy, it could really easily turn into something like that if they're not careful. Yeah, regardless of how much we all cry about it, we'll be watching, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, they're definitely desperate. Nobody's gonna deny that. Kevin Feige, that was the whole Russo Bros thing, the Russo Bros Robert Downey Jr. return. That was all. They did not plan on doing this. They planned on riding this whole Agatha Harkness TV series and Echo TV series. Everybody gets a freaking TV show bullshit they've been trying to pull. They thought they was gonna get away with that people were going to be seated and watching that just because it's Marvel Studios. And they're like, oh shit, we have to actually keep making good stuff. Make the phone call, Kevin. This was definitely not their original plan. But you know what? I'm not mad about it. I'm glad that everything crashed and burned for them, because if not, we wouldn't be getting this. So yeah, exactly, Chase. They just got a little too, they thought they were bulletproof. Because at one time it felt like they were. I don't blame them for feeling the way they felt. They felt like, oh, dude, we're the biggest franchise in the history of movies. We can make anything and people are going to watch it. It just don't work that way. So I'm glad that they're kind of reverting back to the old ways. I'm cool with the TV show and everything. It's just make them interesting. They started out so good with the TV shows. They were interesting TV shows. Like WandaVision was good. Loki's amazing. I even like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I loved Moon Knight. Like they were making TV shows about characters that we all wanted to see, that we cared about. But then they like Echo, like what are we doing? What are we actually doing? Yeah, Secret Wars I don't know that Doomsday, I don't think that was necessarily in the plan. Doctor Doom was definitely going to appear. He was going to be a part of Secret Wars. He was going to be the big part of Secret Wars. But I think it was going to be Kang Dynasty straight into Secret Wars. The whole Doomsday thing, that came after the crash and burn. They basically, with the Jonathan Majors stuff, you know what I mean? It just basically sped up the plan, I guess, the slate. But it was always the plan. Yeah, Doom and all that, I'm sure that was always the plan. But the Kang stuff kind of sped it up, so to speak. I guess I'm the only one. I'm not really that upset about the Kang Dynasty not happening. I thought it was good in Loki. Like, I like Jonathan Majors' character. I think he's a really good actor, regardless of the off-screen stuff he had going on. I think it could have been good, but to be real with you, Ant-Man and the Wasp, the 3, Quantumania or whatever, I feel like it kind of, all hype that was there for Kang, that movie killed it to me. After that, I was like, I don't really care about this guy anymore. It would have been like Thanos showing up in the Infinity Saga as a villain in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, like the main villain. Like, imagine Guardians of the Galaxy 1 coming out and Thanos shows up and Rocket Raccoon beats the shit out of him. And then you're supposed to like go into Infinity War. Then you're supposed to go into Infinity War fearing him still. Like, you got your ass beat by Rocket Raccoon. That's like what this was. That's what the Kang stuff was like to me. Fumble. But whatever. I feel like it all worked out. I'd rather see Doom, honestly. He's pretty cool in the comics and all. I like Kang, but Doom, that's what we all want to see anyway, I think.